Well, well. So it looks like Zia Yusuf has finally, surely and slowly, ruined any momentum reform had, and has completely butchered the opportunities for reform to gain more traction, win any election, or anything close to that. Rupert Lowe, who in my opinion is the best MP in this current parliament, has been thrown under the bus, just like Ben Habib was thrown under the bus by the pay-to-win chairman and co-owner of Reform 2025 Limited, a limited company that's a party. I voted for Reform last election, and my candidate, Andrew Banwell, good old Andy, who I've spoken to, by the way, has said this in regards to the situation I will talk on. I have been quiet on this all day, but I have to say I was a little unsettled when Zia was installed as the chairman, and then even more concerned when Ben Habib left Reform. And now that Rupert Lowe has become an independent, I am really concerned. Suspect that I will be banished just for raising my concerns, but I feel that the party are just becoming the Conservatives 2.0. I see failed Tories being placed all over. Ordinary people like myself don't seem to stand a chance in the future. I, like others in this chat, need to see what happens with Rupert, but it does look like this is not going to be good. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, chances are it is a duck. And I did reach out privately and say, can I repeat this? Because I don't want to throw this lad under the bus. He's a genuine person. He's worked his way to where he is, and he's just a straightforward, honest bloke who I had the pleasure of interviewing and talking to at the time of last election. The thing is, with Ziauddin Mohammed Yusuf, which is his name, he's a Sri Lankan millionaire who sold a company to Capital One. He gave Farage and Reform a lot of money, and then overnight, no vote, no discussion, nothing. He's the chairman of the party. Ben Habib is then forced out. And it's the same with when Richard Tice was leader. There was no, we are going to run a democratic process and you can choose who you want to be leader. It's Nigel Farage is leader and now I'm the deputy. And for the party of so-called common sense, I really do not understand or appreciate how it is being run. I never joined Reform UK. I voted for him last election. I told myself after Boris Johnson's Conservatives I would never join a party again. I stuck to it, independent and such. But Rupert Lowe was the best, or is the best MP in Parliament. They've removed his tick. He's only just got a blue tick back. I understand getting rid of the Reform UK badge, but to remove his, grey tick to prove he's a politician in the UK Parliament doesn't make sense because he's still an MP. He hasn't stood down as MP. The party he was in just pushed him away. I think that Zia Yusuf has far too much influence. I think that he has made some really, really backwards decisions. And quite frankly, I don't trust anyone who buys their way to the top and who no one has ever heard of. You didn't know who he was until he became chairman and started being so vocal for the party. It's like with the critiques of Kamala Harris in the US. There was no process to vote her in. It's just, oh, she's the VP. Here's your candidate overnight. Like that Joe Biden signature on his goodbye message wasn't his signature. They're doing the exact same as the Democratic Party in the US, and that is concerning. So it says here, it is with regret that we feel obligated to disclose that the party received complaints from 2 female employees about serious bullying in the offices of the Member of Parliament for Great Yarmouth, Rupert Lowe. One worked in his parliamentary office, the other in his constituency office. We understand complaints have been made to parliamentary authorities. Evidence was provided to us of workplace bullying, the targeting of female staff who raised concerns, and evidence of derogatory and discriminatory remarks made about women, including reference to a perceived disability. We feel we have a duty of care to all of our staff, whether employed directly or indirectly. Accordingly, we appointed an independent King's Counsel to conduct an investigation into the veracity of these complaints. To date, Mr. Lowe has yet to cooperate with this investigation. In addition to to these allegations of a disturbing pattern of behaviour, Mr. Lowe has on at least 2 occasions made threats of physical violence against our party chairman. Accordingly, this matter is with the police. Reform stands for the highest standards of conduct in public life, and we will apply these standards without fear nor favour, including within our own party. I am disappointed but not surprised to read Reform's untrue and false allegations. Let me be abundantly clear, this investigation is based on zero credible evidence against me, as has been repeatedly stated by the neutral investigator. None has been provided. I have cooperated and spoken at length with the KC they instructed, at great cost to the party, to investigate a minor staff matter. So your party membership, if you joined Reform, was used for this. I have just spoken to the KC. She is dismayed that this statement has been made and reiterated that no evidence against me has been sent to her. She stated that this has been issued before the investigation has even started. She is shocked at the process, shocked at the communication from the party, and shocked that no credible evidence has been given, despite her repeated requests. I was sent an initial letter late on Friday afternoon last week, again with no evidence provided, with no prior warning and no attempt to understand the full position. Allegations of physical threats are outrageous and entirely untrue. I have never made any derogatory comments about women or those with disabilities. This is a lie. These allegations are not even referring to me. I will be seeking legal advice immediately. There is no credible evidence against me, as the KC has stated on numerous occasions. It is no surprise that this vexatious statement has been issued the day after my reasonable and constructive questions of Nigel and the Reform structure. It was issued on X late on a Friday afternoon with no prior warning. All I stated was that communication needs to improve, delegation needs to improve, structure needs to improve. These are all reasonable requests of a party looking to form the next government. I stand by everything I said. I've been pushing for this behind the scenes for many months. With zero success, I have been frozen out of meetings, policy discussions, press conferences, and more. My repeated requests for better communication and regular meetings have been ignored and mocked. Honestly, I've tried and will continue to try. I did not speak publicly without exhausting all other options repeatedly. I have done everything in my power to resolve this behind closed doors. Sadly, I failed. Our voters, our members, and our country all deserve so much better than this. To Reform supporters of mine, please stay within the party. We must win the next election. There is no other choice. Infighting serves nobody but our enemies. Very true. This could have all been resolved with even the most basic level of communication. I do not believe that Reform members will be pleased to know that their membership fees are being spent on instructing expensive lawyers to investigate their own MPs over matters that are entirely baseless and have been dealt with in the correct parliamentary procedure, with HR's full involvement and support. The staff member in question only raised a vexatious complaint once disciplinary proceedings had been initiated against them for serious wrongdoing. The other individual mentioned dropped their appeal. If they want to kick me out over false claims, they'll have to finally present some credible evidence against me. There is none, as the KC has just told me again. A complete inability to accept even the most mild constructive criticism without such a malicious reaction is not effective leadership. This is our party as much as it is Nigel's. I asked reasonable and constructive questions of Nigel Farage and Reform's leadership. Following months of pushing for progress behind closed doors, the day after I had a knife in my back over false allegations, whip suspended. That tells you everything you need to know. There is zero evidence of me making discriminatory remarks about women or disabled people. Anyone who repeats that will be hearing from my libel lawyer. I include Reform in that. The truth will out. GB News is reporting that the police received a complaint yesterday relating to an event in December. This complaint obviously went in just after I asked reasonable questions of Reform's leadership. A malicious attempt to drag my name through the mud. I feel so sorry for millions of decent British men and women all over the country, but their faith in Reform, they've been let down by this malicious circus, who all deserve so much better. And from the KC themselves, the party was precipitous to state that these allegations have been made, without also saying that the party has commissioned an independent investigation, and the investigation has not yet got underway to look at all the evidence and evaluate its veracity. So first Ben Habib. This happened to Howard Cox as well, who ran for mayor in London. Now Rupert Lowe. I just don't understand it. If anyone else in any party was doing pay to win to get leadership roles and power, you'd call it corrupt, and that's exactly what this is. I really do not buy into any of this. I don't really believe it. I personally see it as someone who is too popular, too outspoken, and was in too big a position to potentially be the next leader or be a better option for what we have. And for a lot of people now, that's it. Politically homeless. It's a proper Judas move, to be honest. Obviously, you know, the stuff needs to go underway, but how they've acted and what's gone on, I've lost all faith myself. This is just a bunch of malarkey. Not good, not pleasant, not nice to see. I really don't buy it. There's been no evidence portrayed. You've got to look at evidence, you've got to examine stuff, and there's nothing to examine. I would not be shocked if paid-to-win chairman took personal offence and did everything he can to get this man out of the picture. This is truly a bad day for British politics, as is every day, to be brutally honest. But this is just a real smack in the face. You know, you got to really take a step back and be like, what on earth? It's a joke. These are the same people who are like, oh, Lord Ali, he buys out Starmer and makes Starmer do things. What's Zia Yusuf then? If not worse than Lord Ali, or the exact same. Gives him loads of money, gets forced into a position, demonises the best people of the party who he feels threatened by. Watch these polls go from 26% down to 10 or 15, maybe 16 or 18 if they're lucky. A lot of these people saw Rupert Lowe as the best MP. I still think he is the best MP in Parliament. And a lot of people have lost faith, as have I. I never joined it. I'm glad I didn't. I was going to go to Birmingham for the conference. Not happening. Even if they make amends, not happening. I give credit to Rupert for speaking out. I give credit to Andy Banwell for speaking out. Quite frankly, I'm done. I was independent. I still am independent, really. I won't be in support of any of this. I campaigned as best as I could. In the 2 elections I voted in, I campaigned. 18 years old, delivering leaflets, talking to people. Last election, giving out flyers, putting flyers through letterboxes, interviewing the candidate. I was always one of those people that's like, no vote, no opinion, no complaints. If there was an election tomorrow, I would walk in there just to rip the flipping paper up. It's pathetic, it's sad, it's a shame. Obviously, we don't know the full information, so I can't be too emotional about it. But I don't buy it. I don't trust it. I don't like it. I think that Zia Yusuf needs to get gone as soon as possible. And quite frankly, if they're so-called democratising the party, run a leadership election now with Rupert as a candidate and see what happens. When Elon Musk put out those tweets saying Farage doesn't have what it takes, Rupert Lowe should be the leader, at the time I was like, oh, this would be a bit bad. It would show infighting, distrust. It'd be uncomfortable. Do it. See what happens.